Hey guys, I am Mom of Very Many. I am mom to 15 and we have been looking for a house. So I'm gonna give you an update on the house. Sometimes it's like hard for me to remember like what I actually said and where we left off. I should actually go watch the video. So we are under contract with the house. We had inspections. That's where I left off. Okay, so we had inspections the other day and the inspector was very thorough, very thorough. When I looked at the map, there's a couple things. When I looked at the map that was provided, the map did not look correct, and it's something that we discussed with our realtor because the boundary lines almost went like right against the house, which is not part of the cleared portion of the land, which looks like where the boundary line would be. There's also some random marker, just one random marker in a corner, and it would not align with that random mark. So I think that we're going to end up getting a survey of the land to ensure, I don't want to, okay guys, it's really not that big of a deal, but at the same time, I don't want to plant a fruit-bearing tree and then as soon as it starts producing fruit, then have people be like, oh, that's my fruit. Or maybe your neighbor's like comfortable with you doing something and then they sell their house and then the new person that comes in is not. So unless we can find, we're trying to figure out with the town, unless we can find clear and accurate information about that, then we're going to be getting a survey done. So the inspection came through. There were a couple things with the inspection. Some of them to me were minor, like, oh, you should have hand railings here. This needs to be braced a little bit differently, like smaller things, not big things. Let me think. Some electrical outlets were not grounded when they should have been grounded or should be grounded. They thought the dishwasher, or he thought the dishwasher wasn't working at first, but then figured out it had like a child safety lock or something on it. Yeah, so that ended up working. Yeah, I'm gonna say a lot. I'm still tired. I'll tell you, I'm gonna like do a whole update video with Azariah, and that is where the ums come in. So we did that. The biggest concern probably in the house would be, and we only had, so we decided we could do, so one of the things that we had the option to do would be to just do the house or do the house and the outbuilding. So we asked if we could just have the electricity turned on in the outbuilding. Well, that did actually help us out a little bit because the electrical is not run to the outbuilding. So the electrical inside of the building is all like run in the building, but it has not been connected. It's probably about 20 feet. So it was run to this like point, which is about 20 feet from the house, and it needs to be connected from that 20 feet over to the building itself. So there is no electricity in that building. So that will be something that we would need to do down the road, but I'm glad that we found out about that before we had an inspection, because we decided just to have the inspection on the house itself and not the outbuilding, because there's not electricity out there. It's not going to be like regulated the same way. It's just kind of, it's actually listed as a barn, so it can stay listed as a barn at this moment. That's not going to change us. We're just using it for storage at this point in our lives. So we decided just to do it on the main house. So we had the inspection there. I think two things. One, the fan for the radon has a radon mediation system, and the fan for the radon mediation system is not working. That's one thing. And then the other thing is that the boiler has a piece on it that's broken, but the broken piece can't be fixed, or it could be fixed, but it would cost a lot more money. And the guy basically said we need a new boiler. So it's making really extremely hot water, and you have no way to like regulate the hot or the coldness of it, but the boiler looks like it's probably on its last leg. So most companies probably would not replace that piece, which costs $800 to $1,000. Yeah. So, yeah. So those were the things in the home that were of concern. During this time as well, my realtor was trying to figure out we need for the other building a building permit, and we've not been able to find a building permit. She also had found there was a lot of information given over, I guess, the property. It's kind of crazy because so the property, the gentleman who was there before, he raised animals. So he had pigs and cows on the property, and it became like this big lawsuit between the town because he had too many pigs and cows on his property and he was running a business out of the property. I honestly don't understand all the zoning laws and that type of stuff. I know that it is zoned for agricultural. Like I have paperwork for that. It's zoned residential, but like you can use agriculture, whatever, like on the paperwork. So I'm going to have to find out with the town, like what exactly that means. Does that mean you can never have chickens? Does that mean, you know, all these things? I'm going to have to find that out, but we're trying to figure out about this building. So the town is saying that the building does not have a building code at all. They had a building code on the greenhouse, but not on the barn. And the seller so that gentleman passed away, the pig farm gentleman passed away, and the seller is like the grandson. And the grandson says, I have a receipt right here that I paid for the building permit for this thing, but I just never received the permit itself. So they're trying to like figure out what's going on with that so that we'll have that legally. I don't want to, I mean, technically, legally, they could have you tear down the building, which is kind of ridiculous. So that's kind of that. But we did find out that he did have that paperwork. So he is working on that. He seems very willing to work on things. With the last situation, the people were not willing to work on anything. I never told you. I don't think I told you guys. The last people, oh my goodness. My realtor is like, I don't want to say fighting with them, but she is definitely bringing it to the board or whatever that you say, because they're not disclosing any information on that property, which is totally against the law. Okay, so let me think. So the inspection guy suggested that we have a septic inspection, and that is happening in 3 days. That's happening in 3 days. So we'll have the septic inspection, and then if the building code stuff goes through, then we'll do the appraisal. We're kind of like, what do we do? I think that we only have until, I'm trying to think when our earnest deposit runs up. I think we might have to push out to see if they will allow the earnest deposit to like go for a little bit longer so that like this whole situation can get figured out. I forget what they call it. Oh goodness. Yeah, anyway, so try to push out the date for all this stuff to be done. So that's kind of where we're at. I mean, it's not bad. It's not good. It's not bad. I think it just needs to get tweaked out. I feel like encouraged that he says that he has the paperwork. I'm feeling better about the house. I can definitely see, like, we went there and just measured some spaces. I wanted to make sure that one deep freezer would fit in the house. So then I'm trying to think here, like I need to eat through and or can things that are in my deep freezer so the one deep freezer can fit in the house because there's no electricity outside. And I don't know how the winters are up north. We could probably leave a freezer outside and it would be fine. I don't know. So I don't know too, like I also want to find out about, I mean, I don't plan on having a ton of animals, but yes, I would like to be able to have chickens and grow my own meat as far as chickens go. And I plan on having extensive gardens, guys, extensive gardens. I am going to garden it up, let me tell you. yeah, I'm pretty excited about gardens. So I want to make sure that there's no, like, nothing that would be restrictions for me to plant fruit trees, plant, you know, berries and that type of stuff on the land. So I never have really encountered that type of stuff because we don't have those types of laws. We don't, where we are, like, you could build something without a building permit. That's not a thing just because it's very rural. That's, people do it all the time. I mean, there's, like, up the road there was a school bus with an addition built off of it. So it's just, and a lot of, like, I think now they did it like lakeside, you have to have building permits. And I think that's probably because, like, all the people that come up from other places. Excuse me. So we're just kind of waiting and seeing. This is also the week of Thanksgiving, so I'm not entirely sure, like, how things are going to work as far as who's going to be available and who's not going to be available. The guy's not going to be back in the office until the 2nd of December, so I don't know if there's anyone, like, filling in that can answer questions, or we just have to wait for him. So I don't know. I'll find out more tomorrow when we go to the septic inspection, and I'll update you with the septic inspection. Why can't I say that? Inspection soon. Yeah, thinking things through. There was some other questions about, like, how could I possibly think about bringing such a big family into a small house? I really don't see it as a small house. I see it as a smaller house, but I don't see it as a tiny house or something like that. For generations, I mean, until the last 100 years, even less than that, for the last, you know, less than 100 years, people had big families in small spaces. It's only the past, you know, 75 years that people are having smaller families in bigger spaces. I mean, you don't see, I mean, look at the houses historically that we just looked at. We looked at the Clark house recently. They had 13 children, and, like, there was probably, I don't even know, a small space, right? I think it was like 1.5 bedrooms that the kids were in. 2 bedrooms, I guess you'd say, that all the kids were in, and that there was, you know, 2 other rooms that were for, like, study slash bedroom for entertaining, like, prominent guests. Yeah, so I don't, not that we lived back then, I just don't see it as a, people live in campers, right? Like, I could live in a camper, go see the world and live in a camper. I mean, people bring their families places, like, in campers. You just need to make that space work for you and your households. And if you can make it work for you and your household, then you have it, right? I have seen other YouTubers on here that live in small spaces, and they make the small spaces work. You do what works for your family and your household, but this concept of needing to have a huge amount of space because you have a huge family is just silly. And the concept of having a couple people in a mansion is ridiculous. So we see a lot of that here. My husband goes into people's houses on a daily basis, and there will be, like, 1 or 2 people in a 5,000 square foot house. That is ridiculous. And, you know, these are the same type of people that are, like, claiming, like, whatever about save the earth. Okay, well, live in a space that's different. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox about that. But I definitely do not feel like you need a large amount of space for, if things work, then things work. If this house did not have a basement or an outbuilding, then I don't see how I could make this space work. The reason being is just I need a space to store my food. That's the biggest thing, is I need some sort of space to store my food. And if it's not a basement, then I would need some outdoor space. So to have that outdoor space that has a basement in it, that is just a really big blessing. So if we get this place, I would love to make that into a pantry slash summer kitchen. I'd be excited for that. Excited to see how that all comes together. My husband was like, we can bring your big stove down here and we'll put it in there. So yeah, we'll just see how it works. See how it all works out. See how it unfolds. So thanks for coming along with our journey. If you like videos from me. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, please. And if you feel led, please subscribe to our channel. We would love to have you part of our family. When you guys subscribe, when you guys like, and now I just found out when you guys hype, it all blesses me, both like my channel to like help growth as well as financially. So if you're able to do those things, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a blessed day.